Joining us today is Marc Hubbard, a seasoned sales leader whose career has taken him across continents and through industries, from market research to high growth SaaS firms. With a track record of exceeding targets and elevating teams, Marc brings a powerful mix of leadership, data driven strategy, and international experience to the ConnectToWork conversation. Marc, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Wonderful. Well, what moment in your career has taught you the most?
Well, it's really a cliche, but I've certainly felt I've learned more from the failures than the successes. And so looking at all those times where I did a poor analysis or I was trying to close a sale and I failed and looking back at it and trying to learn from those behaviors have been the most successful and certainly learned through my sales career that you kind of make your own luck in sales a little bit. The harder you work, that it does definitely pay off. And then really putting yourself in the customer's shoes and looking back at where things didn't go as I thought. If I put myself in the customer's shoes, I can see why. So really taking that perspective and looking from their point of view has really helped me grow and develop. And then, quite frankly, just on a personal level, whether it's being English, whether it's being more reserved initially, I don't know. But certainly early in my career, I was very focused, very results oriented, and not maybe on the people side as much as I needed to be. So really try to improve my EQ the last 20 or so years and understand, again, bringing my whole self to work is okay. And really wanting to understand people and their whole selves as well is to be successful in business.
That's very important stuff. Having been in sales, I like to refer to myself as a recovering sales guy. And I know it is very tough. It is very tough. But having that EQ be so high on your priority list is really critical. When your colleagues or team members describe you, what 3 words would they consistently use?
So the 2 big ones would be English and tall. Quite frankly, I'm about 6'4", which you can't really tell on video, but I'm taller than most people think. But on a more serious note, professional, data-driven, and a coach or a mentor. I've really tried in the last sort of 10 years of my career to focus on the last one most importantly, as my roles have evolved, right? Trying to help others learn from my experience and learn from all those failures I've made so they don't have to make quite the same mistakes has really been something I've got great feedback on.
As a fellow tall gentleman, I'm 6'2". I hear you. So, no, those are great. Outside of your professional achievements, what passion project or personal interest has taught you skills that make you better at what you do?
Well, I am a father of 2 kids, and certainly being a parent has been a very interesting, wonderful, exciting journey. And as if you're a parent yourself, how you communicate with, say, a 3-year-old versus an 18-year-old is quite different. And so learning those different communication styles to be able to engage with my children has been a great learning style that I've had to obviously learn for personal, but then can apply those skills professionally. And then I've also really tried to learn from a personal side to take that break, right? Whether that's turning off the computer at 6 p.m. or taking that vacation, right? That away time I think is really, really important. And for me, I mean, just exercise. I went for a bike ride this morning for an hour, right? I feel like I need to exercise regularly. It's both good for mental and physical health, but also helps me step away from the day job and get a fresh perspective. And that's really been important to me.
Those are all outstanding points. And having worked with my daughter and her daughter, I can tell that several times negotiating with a 2-year-old is a lot more difficult than negotiating with the CIO. So yes. I hear you thoroughly. So can you tell me about a mentor for you?
There's been so many. I've been very fortunate. I'll start with my dad. Like many folks, their dad defines them. My dad was, as he called himself, a blue-collar worker. He told me to be a white-collar worker. I'm wearing a white collar today for that reason. So my dad taught me so many different things over the years about both how to do home improvement and DIY to how to be a better person and everything. And certainly there's been many professional folks I've worked with, including people like Felix Suarez and Denny Belcastro and Bob Richardson. Give you guys a shout out. They've been great about showing me how to care for others, how to invest in others, and be someone that you want to proactively engage with. And then from a leadership style, again, I've been very fortunate to work with many CEOs and CROs, but 2 that have stood out for me the last 10 years is Dave Helmreich and Tom Schutz. Fantastic leaders who've given me book recommendations, as well as just kind of thinking about how to deal with SaaS companies. And then 2 others I want to mention by name briefly. Pierre Lever when he ran Planet Retail, and Patrick Comer, the current CEO of Cint. Their proactive communication as CEO about leading a business was really fantastic. And I really have tried to take that forward about being proactive, and they were very good at sharing what they see with the entire company, which I think was really important. And so I try to, where I can, be a proactive communicator and share broadly, because I think that really helps not only your team, but the wider organization understand where we're trying to get to and why we're trying to get there.
Those are great points. And it sounds like you have been very fortunate to have so many good people to learn from. That also leads me to, you mentioned quickly books. What book or podcast has influenced you?
So I'll start with a personal stuff. I love, again, getting escapism from work. So I've read Terry Pratchett's and Lord of the Rings and the Harry Potters, and the kind of just ways to completely kind of deconnect. I have nothing to do with my real world. I'm not a wizard. I'm not going to fight dragons, but it's been a great sort of release over the years. And then from a sort of business professional's point of view, I've really leaned into the MEDIC or MEDPIC philosophy of sales philosophy book. Challenger selling, huge fan of that. And now I've kind of developed my own philosophy just around why now paper process. But that sort of sales process has really helped me, I think, both be a better seller in my individual roles, but also coach my team to do better. And again, take that customer perspective, because it's not about you, it's about what you're going to do for them. And
Right.
those two books, particularly MedPick and Challenger, help me help my teams think differently.
Great stuff. If you could spend a day learning anything from anyone, living or historical, who would it be and why?
Thank you for the question. I thought a lot about this, and I actually don't know, because I think about it. I think you can learn from anyone. It doesn't matter what their title is or where they're from necessarily. There's always something you can learn. And as I mentioned earlier, I think you often learn more from your failures than your successes. So picking the most famous person in the world actually might not be that interesting, because unless they're sharing all the trials they got there, you may not learn as much. So I also wonder about, again, looking back in history and all these famous people, but would it work in this time? So I really didn't have an individual, like I say, I really want to meet him or her because I think they're going to tell me something. I think you can learn if you're open, if you ask questions, you show engaged, and selfishly, again, spending more time with my dad. I mean, he's passed now, and we had a great relationship, but looking back, I wish I'd even done more with him. So that'd be kind of one person I'd like to have spent more time with.
That's a fascinating answer. Well, you've been great, but what do you see as the future of your industry?
Well, I'm in the retail analytics space. And so what I see very clearly is AI is going to have a big impact, both on individual jobs and just kind of how the shopper shops. So that's something that I think I can't tell you what the answer is, but I know it's going to do something. I definitely see brands are under tremendous pressure right now, both from retailers who have their own brands that are competing against that share, as well as lots of sort of small companies with lower barriers to entry now and the ability to sell on Amazon and get share. That puts massive pressure on brands. But it's also why I think retail and CPG is just so exciting. It's changed a lot in the 25 years or so I've been touching it. I think it's only going to change more in the coming ones. So watch this space.
It is a fascinating time for those of us of our age. I think we're close enough in age that you were around probably for when internet first started really becoming such a thing, and email became such a thing, and then cloud, and then now AI is that next massive leap forward. And it's fascinating time to be watching and being a part of it. So thank you so much for joining us today. This is great.
Thank you, Paul. Appreciate it.
MTMG, guidance that empowers.